Hello Stitch With Me in 2024 members. We're back with our second prompt of the year, our February prompt. All previous prompts will be linked below, including how I'm creating the snippet roll and the January prompt. Today's prompt is timepiece. Now this is a really fun prompt, really open-ended. You can also just take part of that word, time, if you want, and create a prompt based around it. If you give it some thought, there are so many ways that we measure time. We can measure the actual hour of the day with a clock or a watch face or something along those lines, and then there's so many types of clocks. Or you can do something that measures time like a stopwatch or a metronome, and it keeps going on and on. So let me show you what I came up with. We used to have a strange little clock in our playroom. It was a little odd because we didn't have any pets in the family, but my mother purchased this clock of a cat. And I'm sure some of you recognize it. It's kind of now a vintage kitschy thing, but it was kind of unusual at the time. And it really stayed in my mind. So let me show you how I created this on my snippet roll. So for the prompt timepiece, I have a few ideas. Growing up, we had a clock very similar to this in our playroom, and I remember the tail wagging and the eyes blinking. And honestly, as cute as it is now, at the time it creeped me out, but it was such a great memory that I want to incorporate that into my prompt here. So somewhere around here, I'll create that cat. I wanted to stick with my lighter colors. I'm not afraid to go with the black, but I really like these colors right now. I'm feeling it, so as long as I feel it, I'm going to roll with it. I've already stamped out the prompt, the word timepiece here, and I think I'll do another little framed word, just like I did here. And this time I'm going to use the blue instead of the gray. And I might even turn that upside down. We'll see. So that's what I'm thinking of for that aspect. And then I have my colors for the cat. I'm using this gray as opposed to the black, and the white. And I'm going to stitch the face on it as well as the clock face. So what I have to do is come up with the size. To make it easier, because it's going to be small parts, I have the fusible interfacing on the back. So this way, when I cut out my fabric pieces, the eyes, in this case the head and the ears, everything will stick nicely and it'll be less likely to move around. And I'll show you that process. So right now I'm going to start by deciding what size timepiece I want. So actually I think I'm going to make it fairly large. So from the tip of the ears to the tip of the tail, I think it's going to be pretty much within these boundaries. So I can remove my backing. Usually when I leave the interfacing on the back of fabric, I like to leave the paper on it. It just is another indicator for me that it has the interfacing. It's very easy in the middle of a creative process to overlook that. And I'll do the same thing here. So now I can cut my fabric down to the maximum height that I want. So I have that height, definitely that width, and I'll come in here as well. So I'll save the scraps of fabric for another use, probably in the snippet roll. And now I'm just going to sketch out the overall shape. I'll move this since I know the height that I need. And now I'll just kind of play around. Speed this along so you can see it. This is a heat erasable pen, so with an iron it will disappear. So that's pretty good. I'll cut that out and then I'll add, with the white fabric, the eyes, the mouth, and I'll consider the bow. For some reason I don't remember the bow, but maybe it was there. So now I got to create the little eyes and the mouth. Find it easier to trace around. So I have the exact size shape of the head. And now I just have to make this fit. And so now I just want to make that bow. So I know this is going to be the head and the neck, and the bow has to fit in here. So that's pretty good. I'll cut out these pieces and then attach them with an iron. So I have all my pieces here, and I have my snippet roll here. because they all have the adhesive, I need to make sure they're at the right spot immediately. So I think I'll just put this over here. And now I'll just play around putting the features here in position. And so I'm pretty happy with the way that looks. Now I'll just take my hot iron and press everything down. Let it melt for 30 seconds or so. And so now I'm ready to take this, and I think I'm going to put it up and down here vertically. So I'll cut the little timepiece. And now I'll just trim a little piece here, just slightly bigger. And I'll stitch this down. I'll probably trim it up a little more. And then I'm going to stitch my cat here. The face of the clock, the eyes, the mouth. We'll come back and see what else there is to do. So I attached the timepiece, the little word here, and I finished the cat. Love how that came out. I want to add some stitches, kind of in the vein of these little stitches that show direction, kind of doing a tick-tock thing. So I want to try and capture the tick-tock of the clock. So I think I'm going to make some stitches similar to this, but instead of going in a gradual up and down, they're going to go across like a Z shape. So I'll just continue it to here, and then to here, and back, like that. And then maybe I'll put in a few little of these little shapes in the empty spots around this. So I'll go to work on that. So there, I've stitched things down. I have a little heart here, some repetition from here, a little thin vine like that. I'm pretty happy with the way that came out. My little timepiece is very personal to me. Now I still have a lot of blank space. I can go in at some point and fill it in, but for now I'm quite content with the way this looks. Just going to keep going. So 2 prompts down, 10 to go. So that's how I used the prompt timepiece on my snippet roll. That was a fun one. It brought back some memories, and it was a little bit of a challenge to create those little shapes and the expression on the cat. I like the little abstract background too, of the little tick-tock of the motion of that, just with those little stitches, the simple running stitches. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe. And please go over to our Facebook group to see some really fantastic prompts that other people have contributed. Thanks for joining me today.